This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Mike Sedita.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 139 of the Good Neighbor Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Sedita. Today, I am joined by Safra Carrera. She is the owner of Beauty Journey. She lives here in the Wesley Chapel, Pasco County area and works there. And we're happy to have you on. How you doing, Safra?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing really great. We're starting to get some nicer weather. The rain has stopped for a couple days, so it's starting to feel a little bit more like spring is actually coming around here, which is very, very nice.
I know, it was freezing. Oh my gosh, I wasn't used to that weather.
Yeah, no, it's too cold. I my blood is thinned out. I can't deal with anything below 50. Is just I just can't do it. It's a catastrophe. I am not sure how familiar you are with the Good Neighbor Podcast, but just in case you're not, the Good Neighbor Podcast was started in 2020 as a way for businesses to get what they're doing out to the community while still being socially distant. And obviously times have changed. Over the last 4 years, we can actually get within 6 feet of each other. And the Good Neighbor Podcast has grown to a national brand. We have podcasts in Denver, Virginia, Atlanta. I'm the person here in Tampa that gets to talk to business owners and entrepreneurs like you. So with that being said, tell us a little bit about Beauty Journey.
Okay, so I am a local estheticianist in the surrounding area, Wesley Chapel, Safra Hills, and Tampa. I recently have partnered up with, I believe they're called the, oh my goodness, I'm going to blank, Wesley Chapel Physical Therapy. And I've also partnered up recently with a nonprofit organization called Journey for Two. And like I said, I'm a local estheticianist, so I basically, focus on being able to educate my clients on skincare and the importance of getting facials. And, we do advanced treatments like chemical peels and micro needling and micro channeling and nano infusion and things like that. Okay,
so let me ask you, you mentioned a couple of partnerships. What are you doing with Wesley Chapel Physical Therapy?
With Wesley Chapel Physical Therapy, they are trying to expand in the aesthetic world. They have an amazing product called Invita, and this machine does amazing things. They're used out in Spain, Barcelona, and I mean, it's so amazing. Like the technology of the device is amazing. It can treat a lot of chronic diseases here in the States, but obviously because we're in the States, we can't really, I can't really sit here and tell you what exactly. Right. But they're trying to bring it into the aesthetic world. So basically we're able to treat anti-aging procedures like wrinkles, skin tightening from the sagging skin, for people that have done weight loss, also body contouring or post-treatment as far as like surgery and things like that.
You're partnering with them kind of, you have a client comes in and you're helping them with their facial type stuff, and they have these peripheral features that they can offer, and you guys kind of share clientele, basically.
Yes.
Okay, and then you said one other charity or one other group that you're working with. What was that?
It's called Journey for Two.
Yeah, Journey for Two. What is Journey for Two?
Journey for Two is an organization that is founded by Alicia Harris. She was, and I'm not sure if you're familiar, but she's been on TV. Her story is basically she found love during COVID, and she got married, and they got pregnant. And within the 4 months of finding out her pregnancy, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. So she came out with this nonprofit organization where she is now helping other women that are in the same situation that she was in. Lucky for her, she was able to have her baby, and she was able to, beat the cancer.
Get the treatment, right?
But it's unfortunate that sometimes other women can't. So I was she invited me to do an event with her, and I felt very compelled to really be able to be a part of something really big. And that's really what Beauty Journey is about. It's not just skincare, it's just being able to really plant those solid seeds to where I can really do more for my community.
So the whole premise of like your mission statement, if you will, isn't just the aesthetic side of it. It's the aesthetic side through gaining confidence and growth as a woman, as a person, as a human being,
Yes.
to be a better part of society. That's kind of the
Mhm.
mission statement and the goal, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question then regarding you. I mean, when you were a little girl, did you have dolls and you were like peeling their skin off and putting stuff on? Like, were you always the person that wanted to do the makeup and all that? Or did you want to be a lawyer and a doctor and said, well, this just is much easier and nicer and I could bring joy to people's lives instead of suing them? Was there like a change or were you always this way?
Yes, there was. Okay, so I definitely did not grow up with dolls or anything like that, but my mom was a single mom. She had me at 17, and I also became a single mom at 17. Um, I actually wanted to be a cop. I'm from Jersey, from Newark, New Jersey.
Oh God. Okay.
So I wanted to be a cop, but I've always wanted to be in
You wanted to be a cop in Newark, New Jersey? What's wrong with you?
I know, it's crazy. I wouldn't do that now.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't do it now. No one would do it. No one wants to do it now. Okay, go ahead. So you came to your senses.
Yeah, I came to my senses when I was in my mid-20s. I was going through a really dark place in my life. I believe I was going through postpartum depression during my pregnancy, and I had my sister-in-law that came and visited me, and she did the whole contouring thing, whole makeup thing. And I was like, oh my God, I look so different. And I felt just in love with the feeling that I felt about myself, because I obviously did not feel confident within myself. It was just a mess. It was such a dark place for me in my life that I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And
well, I mean, the nice thing about that is you had this experience that got you to make you feel better, and you took it, and instead of selfishly just saying, hey, this makes me feel better, I want to just keep doing this for me, you turned it around to make it the thing that helps you to bring that same feeling to other people, which is amazing. Yes. It's paying it forward. It's bringing that good feeling and that being the best version of yourself to help other people be the best version of themselves.
Yeah. Totally.
So tell me a little bit about when someone comes in to see you. Okay, I'll give you like one of my misconceptions, especially with stuff like body contouring and some of those machines. You see the commercials and you think you're just going to go like through like a Star Trek like beaming, and all of a sudden you're just going to be like perfect dimensions and all this other stuff. That's got to be a misconception. But what do you see as some of the myths or misconceptions that people come to see you, like that you can't just make pimples vanish, or can you? I don't know. What's the thing you have to educate people on?
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that too, because I feel like sometimes clients just come and they think we're magical workers. We can just make things disappear, make you guys look like Barbies, but no, it takes two. So the rule of thumb is 80% is the client doing the work, and 20% is the esthetician. So I'm going to give you the aftercare procedures. I'm going to give you,
right,
the information you need as far as what skincare products to purchase and how to use them. But if you can't go ahead and commit to doing that for yourself, then when you come to my table, I can't, we're going to have to be starting from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess the biggest misconception is you can't just walk into see an esthetician. She's going to turn you into Farrah Fawcett. I'm old. I'm very old. So Farrah Fawcett is my point of reference. Can't turn you into, Taylor Swift overnight, and then you leave and it just stays. You have to actually put in some work on your own, which is probably the biggest thing in society today. Everybody wants instant gratification, doesn't want to put any of the work in. So you see that every day, every month when people come back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with the gym. Like going to the gym, people join in January with their New Year's resolution. The statistics show they're done by the first week of February. As someone who's gone to the gym for decades, we call it like, hurricane season in the gym. It's from January 1 until February 15th. And then everybody, is kind of disappears again. So you got to deal with the resolutioner season. So, so you kind of get that. People don't want to put in the work. So let me ask you this. That's got to be frustrating sometimes when someone comes in and maybe they're beautiful, but they just kind of let themselves go or whatever that is. When you're not in the salon and doing what you do, what do you do for fun? Do you go to the beach? Do you go skydiving? Are you a mountain climber? Or do you just like drive around Newark, New Jersey looking to like dodge bullets?
No. So I'm a mom of 6 kids, and I'm married. So I try to spend a lot of time with my husband and my kids as well. It's a busy household here. I have,
No, 6 kids? How
yeah.
busy could it possibly be?
So
What are the age ranges?
oh my God, I have one that just turned 18. So an 18, a 16, soon to be I have a 15, soon to be 16. And then I have my small group, which is 8, 7, and 5.
Wow. So when you guys play, like if they play sports in the house, we have to divide up an older kid with a young, like from group A and group B, just to balance out the group. Is that how we do it?
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Man. And boys, girls, what are we looking?
4 girls and 2 boys.
Those poor boys and your poor husband. Oh my gosh. So that is a full house. You have a lot going on. Are they all in different stuff? Are they all in sports or gymnastics or karate? I mean, does everybody have a different thing, or they all kind of do some of the same stuff?
No, they're all in different things.
Well, at least that makes it easy. At least you don't have to have a car that has unlimited miles on it and drives on vegetable oil. That would be great if you had that. You wouldn't have to worry about driving kids all over. That is absolutely insane. So take the kids out of it. What do you and your husband like to do for fun? Just sit in silence? Is that kind of the...
we like to go out. We do a lot of date nights. So you'll see us over there at Crust and Noble catching dinners. We like to go out for margaritas.
Right.
We just like to have fun,
All right. So Noble Crust for some pasta, Azteca de Oro for a couple margaritas. You're over in Wiregrass Mall. That's my stomping ground. So let me ask you this then. What would be... I mean, you kind of touched on it already. So, I mean, usually I like to ask people, especially entrepreneurs, what's a hardship in their life that they've overcome? But you kind of touched on it already. You had that postpartum when you were young. You weren't sure what you were going to do, and you were able to turn around. Is there something else that happened during the course of your career that you've been doing this where you're like, man, maybe it was COVID when you couldn't get in front of people? I don't know. Was there another time where you're like, man, I got to give this up and do something else?
Yeah, no, I think for me has really been the growing pains of being an entrepreneur. I feel like for me, I just kind of jumped in, and I'm like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. I can definitely do this. And I'm still learning. And I think that was, for me, there was nights where I would, for men it's different, but for women, I was like crying. I would pray to God.
How do you know what men do? We could sit and cry. You don't know if we're sitting and crying over taxes this time of year or hiring.
True.
Everybody deals with things in their own way. Don't go judging on whether or not somebody cries or not. But what is one of the things, and you touch on a very good thing, is your husband have like a corporate job? Does he have like a steady, like a work for a company type of job? Or does he work for himself also?
So he did. He's a retired veteran from the Marine Corps.
Awesome.
So he did have one, and then now he's unemployed. So it's all based on me. He does, of course, have his benefits, but honestly, it's tough. So I think just being able to kind of navigate the personal finances with the business finances and just be able to find that peace, which I was able to once I surrendered everything, to Jesus.
So let me ask you this question. For a side note, personal stuff. I mean, is your husband looking to get back into a job, or is he retired? What does he like to do? What does he do?
So my husband is a, oh my God, his title, I always forgot, but like he does like all the aircraft and when it comes to like planes in the Marines. Yeah, not maintenance, but the analytical part. So all the analytical part, that's what he does. IT, I can't.
So like he's when you say, when I think planes and analytical, I'm thinking the guy who makes them actually take off and land. Is he doing like computer systems inside planes or inside like airports?
No. So okay, when I think about it, he used to work for HMX, with the president. So he was in charge of making sure that all their planes were run nice and function. So he was a part of that admin. He didn't actually do the work, but he was reliable to make sure that everything was in order.
So like project management type work.
Yes, like project management and that type of work. Well,
the reason I ask is because, this podcast, thousands of business owners listen to this podcast. We have an ex-Marine who served this country. If you're listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, and you have somebody that does logistics and programming, project management type stuff, we have a guy here who might be your man. Let's find. We'll make this into an employment show. We'll find him a job. So there is a lot of stress though that comes with that when you're the person that's kind of carrying the weight, and relationships are like that. I was married to my ex-wife. There were times I made a lot more money. There were times she made a lot more money, and you just kind of get that ebb and that flow. As a business owner though, you touched on it, like you're kind of doing this and the ins and outs. There's like something new comes at you. So has there been something recently, that you've been doing this a while that you're like, man, I didn't see that coming. Like whether it was, I don't know, payroll tax or I don't know, something that you were like surprised the way when it came out.
I think for me is really just being, and I don't know if you could feel this way, but like for me was more relationships. So I felt like there's times where I would feel like I would make a genuine connection, but it really wasn't. Like you always see the side, the ugliness of.
Well, you're from New Jersey, so it's part of our DNA. And listen, I'm not saying this as a joke. This is legitimately a part of what people in the South, and I've lived in the South a good chunk of my adult life. Growing up in New Jersey, especially northern New Jersey, there is a certain edge or a certain chip that comes on your shoulder because everybody's always got an angle in New Jersey. I mean, that's the way I always. So when you come out and you're like, I'll tell you a funny story. So my mom grew up in West New York, okay? And I lived in Atlanta when I was in my 20s. She came to visit me. Now, at this point, she's in her mid-60s, kind of close to retirement. She comes out of the airport and she's shaking her head. And I'm like, now my mom lived in Bergen County most of her life, but she was originally from West New York. She comes out of the airport shaking her head. I'm like, hey, Mom, good to see you. Give her a kiss. How's it going? She's like, oh, these people. And I'm like, what? Like what happened? Like you were just in the air. What could have possibly happened? She was the woman at the service counter was like so nosy. And I'm like, wait, back up. Tell me what happened. She goes, I got to the counter. I asked her for my information, whatever she was doing. She's like, how are you? What are you in town for? Like, I go, Mom, I know you're not used to this because you're from New Jersey, but that's called being friendly. Everywhere else in the country, that's called being friendly. So yeah, exactly what you're saying. You think you're making a genuine connection to somebody and building a relationship. And through our lens, at least through my lens, and maybe yours, you're always wondering when the shoe's going to drop, if this person's really making that connection or if they're just kind of in it for whatever it is, free something or whatever the angle is. There's always an angle. In New Jersey, we grew up, there was always somebody had an angle, right? Yeah. Yeah. So that's hard. I mean, that plays on you. That's got to play. I mean, it does to me too. It plays on you a little bit. Now, I'm not saying I cry over it. I'm not getting that deep into it, but you don't know who your allies are a lot of times. You got to always keep your friends, your circle small. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I've learned as far as like the whole entrepreneurship, Yeah, it's a tough one. So let me ask you this. If there's listeners out there listening to this, where do you work out of a salon? I actually own 3. So I have my own in-home studio, treatment room, and then I have the Tampa location, and I also have the Wesley Chapel location. And is it in like a salon lofts, or is it in like an actual, like a space where you have other people doing your stuff too? No, so the one in Tampa, there's other offices, but I'm actually partnered. Like there are offices with attorneys and things like that. It's just me and a massage therapist. Oh, good. And then whereabouts in Tampa? It's like Carrollwood area. Okay. And up here in Wesley Chapel, whereabouts are you located up in this area? Right across the Wesley Chapel Hospital, the admin. Right behind the 7-Eleven, the 7-Eleven, right in that spot. Yeah, I can't think of the name of that, but I do have a bunch of people I do some work with. A friend of mine owns Edge Law, which is right there. All Smiles Dental is right there. State Farm is right there. I'm right next to them. Yeah. Excellent. So if there's one thing people listening to this need to know, like, listen, there's a bunch of estheticians. It's a tough competitive market. Why should we come to you? What's different about your business? Well, I do believe that I'm a lot different than a lot of my other
estheticians colleagues. I take a more of a holistic approach. I've really tried to emphasize into what their needs is and really kind of focus on a treatment that really will be suitable for them. Sometimes a lot of clients feel overwhelmed. They feel like they have to do 20 steps of skincare when technically you don't. You can do 3 if you want. But I look at them more as being able to help them in their skincare journey than, looking at them as a wallet.
As a number. Yeah. Like not overselling somebody product they don't need just because they probably can afford it.
Yeah.
It's funny. I went to an esthetician and I said, listen, I need you to make my face beautiful. And she just handed me a paper bag and I didn't know what to do. It was much cheaper than anything else. She just handed it to me and I walked out. I was very, very confused by the whole process. But what is the best way, whether people want to, I don't know if you have 2 separate numbers, if you have one number and you kind of guide them to multiple locations, how do people get a hold of you?
I do have one number, and that's 813-825-7713. You guys can text me, call me. I'm available from my
Awesome. So, folks, if you're out there listening to this, you listen to this podcast. The host is from New Jersey. Safra is from New Jersey. Don't hold that against her. We're actually good people from New Jersey. We just needed to get away from the cold and the snow and the shooting bullets in the Newark metropolitan area. She has created a great holistic service, which is Beauty Journey, kind of helping you to be able to bring out the inner beauty with the outer beauty. You can reach her at 813-825-7713. She's not going to oversell your product. She's going to give you what you need. She's going to give you the personal touch. Safra, thank you for being a good neighbor. Thank you for being on the Good Neighbor podcast with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Passcode. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnppasco.com. That's gnppasco.com or call 813-922-3610.